Hello guys, welcome to my second video of Introduction to C++. In this video we are going to talk about object-oriented programming and its features, then data types, then we will talk about type modifiers. I hope you like it. So first of all, let us talk about why C++ over C. So C++ is an object-oriented language, while C is a function-oriented language. So you must be thinking, what is the meaning of function? So function is a group of statements that together perform a task. Now a C program is divided into different functions. Like there will be a main function which is mandatory, then there will be small functions below that. But when we are using global variables, then it can access any function. So in this case the data will not be secured. So that is the main idea behind C++. In C++ we are converting each into objects. So here we have the global variable, then we have the main function, then we have three functions which are sum, pro and div. So in the case of C, here the global variable can be accessed by the sum function, pro function and also the division function. So in this case the data will not be secured, but when we consider this sum and pro to be an object and the div to be another object, in this case these two are its own functions, which means the data will not be changed. So to avoid this problem in C++ we have objects which have its own variables, so data will be secured. This is the main reason why C++ has several data that are separated into objects, so each object has its own data. Now let us discuss an example related to this concept. So let us consider a grocery bill. Here, as you can see the grocery bill, we have the product name, quantity, price and amount. Let us consider two objects which are ice cream and lace. Here we have bought ice cream, two quantities and each having a price of 100 rupees. So the total amount becomes 200, and in the case of lace it is 50 rupees. So we consider each item to be an object. So in this case ice cream and lace are the objects. So we divide every thing into objects such that it has its own function. So in this case the data will be secured. Now let us discuss why object-oriented programming offers several major advantages in software development. The first one is the reduced susceptibility to errors. An object controls access to its own data. More specifically, an object can reject erroneous access attempts. So as you can see that there won't be the probability of making errors will be reduced largely. Then it will be easy to reuse. Objects maintain themselves and can therefore be used as building blocks for other programs too. Low maintenance requirement. An object type can modify its own internal data representation without requiring changes to its own application. So as you can see, these are the main advantages in software development. Now let us move to the next slide. So in this slide we will talk how this C program is made into an executable file. First of all, we write the code using an IDE. An IDE means Integrated Development Environment. For example, there are many IDEs in the market now, like VS Code by Microsoft, Code Blocks, and even the Notepad is also an IDE. But we use softwares like VS Code because it has a lot of features. So this when we write something in a file, this file is called source code. Now we convert this source code into a source file by combining every source codes together. Once we combine everything into a source code, then it's time for compilation. So we use a compiler. The compiler is something which converts our written code into machine readable form, so which is called the machine code, and the machine code using the linker converts it into an executable file. Okay, so this is the C++ journey, how we write a program and how we can convert it into an executable file. Now let us move to the next slide. Now let us talk about variables. A variable is a container which is used to hold data. Each variable is given a unique name. For example, here we have int a is equal to 2. Here int is a data type and a here is a variable. A is equal to 2. So it is given that a variable a is given a value of 2. There are certain rules which should be followed while writing a variable, that the variable should only be in numbers or characters, and it should not start with a number, and it should also not start with an uppercase letter. Okay, now let us move to fundamental data types. What do you mean by fundamental data types? Fundamental data types are the primitive ones, and data types are declarations for variables. Here we can see that int is a declaration for that variable a. So this determines the type and size of the data associated with the variable, which is essential to know since different data types occupy different size of memory. So as you can see here, we have 5 different types of primitive data types, and let us discuss each one of them. So the first one is int data type, which means integer, like 1, 4, 100. It can also be negative, like minus 5000, minus 100, etc. And its size in bytes is 4 bytes. It can store values from minus 2147483648 to 32147483647, which means we can hold a large amount of data in int. For example, here we have a declaration int h is equal to 20, which means we are giving the value of 20 to the variable h, and it is an integer. It is declaring it. Now we have the float data type. Float data type basically means decimals, like pi, which is 3.14, then we have 6, then 2.01, or any decimal, and its size also is 4 bytes. It can store up to 7 decimal digits. For example, here we have a declaration where float pi is equal to 3.14. So we are assigning the value of 3.14 to the variable pi. Now we have the double data type. Double data type is used for exponentials, like 24e8. 24e8 means 24 into 10 raised to 8. It is used to store values up to 15 decimal digits. Here, as you can see here, we have double h is equal to 20e2, which means we are declaring a variable h which is double data type, and its value is 20e2. Now we have char data type. Char data stands for character. For example, like C, F, or at, percentage, or anything like this. And its size is 1 byte, and it can store a lot of values, and it is represented using ASCII code. For example, we have char ch is equal to h. Now as you can see here, the h is represented in single quotes. So we use single quotes for char data type. Okay. Now we have bool data type. Bool stands for true or false. Boolean like 1 or 0, and its size is 1 byte. it can only store values of 1 or 0. For example, here we have bool h is equal to false, which means h is equal to 0. Okay. Now let us move to the next slide. Now we will talk about C++ type modifiers. What do you mean by type modifiers? Type modifiers are used to modify the fundamental data types. As you can see here, we have signed int data type, which means that it contains both positive and negative numbers, same as integer. So it is the same as int, and its size is 4 bytes. Then we have unsigned int. Unsigned int means it only can access positive value of integers, which means uh, mm, only no negative numbers, and its size is also 4 bytes. In this way we can reduce the um, storage. Then we have short data type. Short data type has a size of 2 bytes and is used for uh, storing short integers. Then we have long data type, which has a size of 4 bytes and it's used for long integers. Then we have long int, which has a size of 8 bytes and it is used for large integers. Then we have long double, which is used for accessing large decimal numbers, and its size is 8 bytes. Okay, so that is for all for today's video. I hope you liked it. Consider subscribing to my channel if you like it. Thank you.